This is what a teacher-funded classroom looks like. Pictures, anchor charts, inspirational quotes, art, classwork, reminders, decorations, all of it. And this is what your classroom looks like when you're all about standardized testing. See the difference? Hey teacher friends, this is Nina Rodriguez and welcome back to my channel Misfit to Teach, where I talk about all things teaching and how to stay mentally, physically, and emotionally fit to teach. If I don't already know you, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We like to come together every week and just talk about things that are happening in the given times of a school year and sort of where our hearts and minds are as teachers. So I'm making this video today a little bit differently. Every now and then I walk around my classroom and just kind of, I think, use the form as a little bit of like a mental detox. So please forgive me if this is less about strategies and more so maybe like listening to me vent, and perhaps you can relate. So we're in the time of year where if you teach in Virginia or a similar state, we are doing standardized testing. And I don't care for standardized testing for a variety of reasons, but this is what it turns my classroom into. As you can see, it's like a shell. See, my desk is like the busiest part of the whole thing, and that's really just to keep my mind occupied. But everything else in the room is just taken down, and it's kind of a bittersweet time of year because while I'm still with my kids, I'm not really with my kids, if you know what I mean. You know, their projects, things that we've been working on, anchor charts, project bulletins, all of those things have been stripped, and the room is essentially bare in preparation for their standardized tests. When we get to this part of the year, I find that it's really helpful to also start making the transition of like the heavy lifting in your classroom in terms of the lessons being transferred to your students. So where you would be guiding your kids through the lesson, telling them how to do things step by step, I find that we're in the part of the year where they have to start flying on their own. They have to start taking ownership and accountability and responsibility for the things that you've worked so hard to teach them all year. So you might find that this time of year is like really helpful to choose like a really good novel set. Right now we are reading this one, which if you haven't read it, I recommend it. It's like in 7th to 8th grade reading, possibly 9th, depending on your learners. Whole class novels are really great. You can weave projects into them. They take up sometimes days or even weeks of the remainder of your school year, and your students are allowed to revisit a lot of the staples that you have gone over by way of the guided questions you might be asking, by way of group projects, by way of essays, journals, quick writes. There's a lot of ways to weave a really great novel into your lessons. So this is the time of year where if you haven't started one with your classes, I would definitely recommend doing so. Another really great time of this year, besides the fact that like we're starting to wrap up, is the weather is getting nicer outside. Slowly it's getting more sunny. The day is lasting longer. You might find, especially in like a math or a science class, this is a wonderful time of year to take your kids outside if you have an administration or a school building that's conducive to that. You can take your lesson outside in a variety of ways. Obviously, science is the easiest way to do that since so much of science is nature-based, biology-based, chemistry-based, and we find all kinds of examples of that outdoors. If you're in an English language arts class like myself, or a math class, you have to be a little more thoughtful about how you're going to justify taking your kids outdoors, but it absolutely can be done. And you'll find that that's really beneficial towards your relationship with your kids too, because any time where they have the opportunity to see you outside of the four walls of your classroom, they get to see to a little bit more of your personality and get to know you on a different level. And that can be really bolstering to your relationship with your kids at a time of year where all of you are stressed and strained and you're ready to stop. So if you're able to and the weather is nice, consider starting to take your kids outside for your lesson and make that happen more than once as you bring the school year to a close. And the last thing that I would just tell you during this time of year, since everybody is tired, maybe you haven't had spring break yet, or you're in that home stretch of the school year where there's still some weeks to go, but not a whole lot of objectives for you to hit left in your lesson for the year. I would recommend reminding your kids, be encouraging that there is light now at the end of the tunnel, right? That everything that you have done is not in vain, and that the things that they have done they matter more so than just the standardized test. So what that means is this is an excellent time of year to take what they've learned and start making it hyper relevant. Give them projects and assignments that don't just relate to whatever you're reading or whatever your course of study is, your unit of study in the classroom. Make a connection to their community and to the outside world, something useful that they can take with them into the next school year and into life. I think an important and often forgotten part of being an educator is that we have a responsibility to create life ties and to create ideas and skills that our kids can take with them into the real world. How many times have you heard from adults nowadays that, well, I wish that I would have learned about such and such, taxes or the IRS, getting a job, interview skills. I wish I would have learned these things when I was in school because I've used the Pythagorean theorem 0 times. So there's lots and lots of ways that we can make our course of study relevant, and this is a great time of year to start doing that for them so that they can see that not only is a school year and your time with them ending, but also the things that they're taking away, they're useful tools that will outlast their time in the classroom. That's all I have for you today. It's a super short video. Just wanted to kind of show you where we are and touch base with you. If you are dealing with similar emotions and similar struggles, similar tasks as we approach the end of the year, leave a comment in the comment section. I love hearing from you and seeing how you're doing, and also share ideas of how you are getting through the end of the school year. It's wonderful to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.